Greetings to VFX and Chill. Kill.
'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, that Hashi and Seth began doing live streams. With their secret ingredient, Michael Zalapsky, they set off to teach, but instead they found glee. For to share tricks and treats is the ultimate thrill. Won't you join us to make VFX and to chill?
Chill. It's spooky season on VFX and Chill, and the two spookiest people you possibly could have here today are me, Seth Worley, and this guy, Daniel Hashi, Dr. Moto Hashimoto. Hashi, you look stunned like a deer in headlights right now.
I am stunned. My goodness. I love making these ridiculous intros.
Me too.
They're a lot of fun.
We are going to get way into that for sure. But first, someone we're both way into is Mr. Michael Zalapsky. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great. I love the double intro this week. It was so good.
Hashi has a problem in that he gets an idea and then does it. and does it times a million. I loved this week's intro.
Oh, it was so good. I especially liked the two of you moving the models by hand. That was spectacular.
It was fun to meet up with you in the Stop Mo studio, Seth.
Yeah, Hashi sent me a screenshot while you were comping it, and you were like, is it weird that it's moving me emotionally to see the two of us just hanging out working on something together? And I was like,
it's just sweet, you know?
It is.
It's very sweet.
We learned something filming that, by the way, that when you shot your side, great. I did my side. I had like an overshirt on, maybe a hat or something. And I just started shedding that stuff. But the second it was just a t-shirt and
I was like less
here,
clothing.
You were like, oh, you're an animator now. Redo everything. And that's how you become an animator, kids. Speaking of, what are we doing on the show this week, Hosh?
Well, today I think that we should explore a whole bunch of things related to stop motion photography. One of my very, very favorite movies is Henry Selick's Nightmare Before Christmas, or Henry Selick's Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
It came out at a fantastic time in my life for me to completely embrace. Like, that's as scary of a Halloween world as I would want to embrace. But I thought that we could talk a little bit about just stupid tidbits that we know about actual stop motion.
Love stupid
and
tidbits.
then kind of move into what we often do in the show, which is fake something that usually is an incredible amount of work.
Fake something that an artist spent hours doing.
Exactly.
Using well-honed skills and gifts. Yeah.
I will say I made this intro as hard to accomplish digitally as possible. And so there were as many aspects of it that I was making by hand and frame by framing to make bits of it work, which is a lot of fun, actually. I don't know if I've paid that much attention to things that'll go by so quickly as much as I have this week.
Yeah, that's an intro that could really, really do with repeat viewers. So after the show is over, scroll back to the beginning and enjoy it again.
I think season 4 is just going to be us working the entire week on a cool intro and then spending the actual show talking about the intro that we made for it.
Well, it's not a bad idea because especially in the case of this week, like, it's using all the techniques we're planning to talk about this week anyway.
Well, similar. Then you started talking about stop motion, and then last night I was like, or the night before, I had made the pre-show music that you heard on my.
Oh my gosh, that is a fantastic beat. I want that on Spotify.
It's my favorite thing I've made on this thing. I got a Teenage Engineering pocket operator, a PO33. Those of you who don't know what that is, go to Google Teenage Engineering pocket operator. It's a sampler and sequencer, and so I make these little dumb little tracks that are our pre-show music, with the exception of our premiere. I make them just on this little thing, like this size.
Love it. We call him DJ Whirl, is what I'm going to...
You know, my dad's initials
are
DJ Whirly. Like,
wow.
wasted on the
Nothing
old.
to change.
So
you got to be DJ Whirly Jr.
No, I got S Whirly for Swirly, which was great in the middle school.
Swirly. That's pretty cool.
But anyway, so I made that VFX and Kill little beat, and I realized, oh my God, it's Halloween. We're not Halloweening enough on the show this week. So I would love some suggestions, personally, would love some suggestions from the chat. Horror-related stop motion. And I'm not talking about like Mad God, like Phil Tippett's Mad God, or I'm talking more like VFX
do you have that
shots.
Shot from the gate?
Well, the gate. So I did pull some shots from the gate, but I found out things about the gate. We can talk about the gate. I got some clips. But I would love, I agree, Justin, DJ Swirly is the illest dude who makes the illest beats. Oh, I got to stop pointing out things because, Michael, you have the controls now where you can actually bring them up. The point of that is, chat, recommend me some VFX shots from horror movies that involve stop motion that I can dive into and mess around with, because I'd like to do that for Halloween this week. Hashi, in the meantime, do you want to walk through your intro stuff?
Oh, sure. So yeah, this is a lot of fun. This obviously, we start with a little parody of the opening to Nightmare Before Christmas here with this little section of the woods and a bunch of crazy doors here. This is a little model that there's a super low poly, like four-sided trees version of this, but it was really helpful I have a handful of people to credit for some cool stuff. Along this intro, I'll try to just throw them all in right now. I got to use this cool, I used this outfit for CG Hashi, as this stylized character by Auguste Guzel. And I used this hearse as a reference to build that hearse that is the mayor's from the movie. It was really nice for blocking, but I was telling the guys that this is a little bit like a Ship of Theseus process where I was just using the rough volume, moving it into shape until I eventually... But you can see how the base geometry ended up there, but I ended up doing a lot of volume building to make up extra shapes and bits and attach little lanterns and things and replace the wheel. I was very proud of this siren cat. I built that on a little 5-minute timer, which I do even when I'm not on the show. It's really cool. Oh yeah, I was crediting other people. Let me make sure. So that's by yo.re. And then for Seth, I used this. What's the Clash of Titans show called?
Arcane
guy. Arcane looking.
League of Legends, yeah.
League of Legends. Whoops. So yeah, I used this head for Seth, and then a bunch of weird volume meshing and building to do Michael and me, which was a lot of fun. So basically, I'm doing everything I can to end up not actually using ZBrush.
Well, I mean, the really cool thing about the volume modeling is it's not unlike clay. I mean, ZBrush is obviously more like clay, but it's a good way to get that kind of look of kind of stuff is a little bit blobbed.
The environment was made by Pocket Mikey. So this is a really cool reference. Like it's very neat.
Cool name, to be honest.
And this, it was neat to sort of see what the layout would be like. So I went kind of on top of this. I threw these guys into a volume builder and then remade the textures for the trees. I actually remade them in After Effects, which is kind of a weird process because I ended up making just a solid with the scribble effect, and then did like an inward bevel on that, and then selected the inverse shape and did a positive bevel on it. So there would be this thing that functioned like a bump map, and then something that functioned like a color with a little bit of the like shading as you went inside, and it looked enough like the little clay trees or whatever. And I'm going to call everything Clay, even though
Bill Clay.
it's just because I don't know the actual.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, and I feel like I'm talking a lot, so feel free to interrupt me.
No, Michael, do you have any suggestions yet for me?
Yeah, we've got quite a few people in the chat actually giving some suggestions. Large Marge from my favorite horror movie says Nick Smith.
Man.
Nick Smith, you just suggested the greatest thing ever. And Nick, by the way, guys, I think I met Nick this week in person.
You think?
Yeah, well, I'm suddenly questioning if it was right. There's a couple
not,
Nicks
who
in
was
my
that
world.
guy?
There's a couple Nicks in my world, and I want to make sure Nick will confirm whether that's true or not. I did meet Nick Smith, yes, and there's a picture of us in person. This is at my friends at Gear 7 do a thing in Nashville once a month or week or something called Directors and Donuts, which sounds like the name of a book about my very healthy and normal weight gain, but very, very fun event, and Nick came up and hung out. It was great. Anyway.
Dixner says the Snake Man from the movie Dreamscape.
Ooh, I'm going to look that one up. I don't know that one.
We've got Frigby with the head spider from John Carpenter's Thing was sort of stop motion, they think. Scott Lang says the little demon dudes from Subspecies.
Subspecies?
Yeah. Michael Powlek says Nightmare on Elm Street. 3 Dream Warriors stop motion Freddy. Nick also brings up Gremlins having some stop motion in it. Jamie Hashimoto says crawling through the portal door in Coraline.
Hello, right. That looks really cool. I can't remember exactly what it's like an accordion sort of, right? Let's see. I won't search for it actively while we're streaming, but I will show off a silly trick that I used for these doors.
Oh, please do.
Because let me see if I got this. Oh my gosh, this was an exciting adventure. I didn't film myself properly to fit in frame, and so I was often cut off. And so I was going through and doing some generative fill and getting some fantastic results, like this body right here.
Like I love you have the tucked in shirt.
Their bodies.
Yeah, tucked in shirt, dad butt. It's the best.
It's amazing. It's very, very accurate. I'm just going to close all and not save any of those. But let me pull up my Nightmare Before Christmas doors in case you want to do something similar. So the doors, in case you did not catch them, there's an ET door. There was
this was
all right. Solve this one,
Chris
everybody.
Pine. We love Chris Pine.
I just said he was like, "What other doors would we have?" I was like, "Well, Chris Pine," and he's like, "It could be a pine tree that just says Chris on it." And then 3 hours later, he was still working on this.
Like 2.5.
Seth, I've tried to say up for that drop 3 times.
Oh, damn.
We love Chris Pine. I wish he were mine. He's always on my mind, Chris Pine.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm not on it for the drops this week.
It's all good. So anyway, these are employing a little bit of the silly. I did have a ZBrush door, and was going to like cover it in cobwebs because we haven't explored ZBrush on this show yet. But I didn't want to like set it like doom us in advance. Last year, Seth and I decided we would become at least slightly proficient at Cinema 4D, our flagship
and let me tell
product
you,
that we
did it.
I think that we've come a long way. I'm amazed.
Me too.
At our progress.
I'm very proud. I'm very proud. You two have both produced some amazing stuff with it. Shrek's Head on Fire is probably on my top list, but
I mean, really.
Just warming up. Sorry, I should do this before the show.
I love that. I would love an audience suggestion for a door that you would like to walk through, and then I'll show what that process was that I did for these doors.
I do want to say there are some more suggestions. The minions in Gate 2 were from Phil N. Michael Powlek says the hallucination deserts sequence from Young Sherlock Holmes.
Oh my gosh!
Also more stop motion options.
All right, let's talk about the gate. This specific. Ooh. This shot
can't
is
help but think that's
so creepy.
Edgar from.
It looks exactly like Edgar the Bug from Men in Black. Yes, it does. So this shot rules, right? Here's the thing. Someone posted a behind-the-scenes image of the director directing. So these little guys down here are on a recreation of this bedroom set, but at huge scale. So these are people in costumes down here.
And these are people standing on a ledge high above and in front of all the action happening.
Oh,
I'm
crap,
pretty
you're
sure
right.
that favorite shows, VFX Artist Reacts, definitely covered this.
That's right. They did. So this doesn't really count as stop motion to me then, because these are definitely all guys in costumes. Pretty great though. This movie is nuts, and it is full of some of the most nuts VFX shots and imaginative ones I've ever seen. It's absolutely incredible.
There's nothing better. Look at that. Just even that foot kicking the little guy in is great, and it looks the way you would shoot that insert shot if it was like a dog in the whatever year this was made. What is this? 85?
87.
7.
Yeah.
So close. But yeah, just this cool little insert. It's great.
Got the other thing I was going to consider doing was this "you've been bad" moment where runs outside, sees his parents. They're not his parents. They're demons posing. He's touching his dad's face.
I hate when that happens.
And then his dad's face has all this gross guck pouring out of it. Horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. I was going to try and do that today, but I'm much more excited by what Nick presented us, which is one of the scariest things of all of our childhoods, which is this shot from Pee-wee's Big Adventure of Large Marge. I want to do this now on the show, so I'm going to.
If this shot doesn't just reach into your soul and
it's so good,
re-traumatize you into a fetal position, then I don't know what will. It's so fantastic.
It is.
Oh, and by the way, Justin,
it makes me happy.
Justin noticed that I took a while to set up the corridor drop, and it was just because I'm tired.
We're all
no
tired.
beef with corridor. We love those guys.
I didn't want to assume where you were going with it, but it did sound like you were trying to be careful with your words, even though we have nothing but love for corridor.
I was just trying to not to say corridor already did it first. Corridor. I was trying to reword my sentence.
Yeah, we don't have a drop for that.
I didn't have anything.
Hashi, we do have a suggestion for a door. So if you want to show off your door technique, Scott has requested a door with the number 237 on it. So that's been currently our only door suggestion so far.
I said Jim Morrison, and no one responded.
Oh, Scott has also suggested the round snake door from Harry Potter.
See, I'm looking for not a specific. I was looking for more I will do a snake, but I'm not going to do a Harry Potter snake. I'm just going to try to look up an image here and turn it into a door. So
was Jim Morrison in The Doors? Or he was. So there's no excuse.
Seth really wants Jim Morrison door.
There's no excuse for no one laughing at this joke. Is my point.
Oh, Jim Morrison.
Yeah, you thought I said Tim Morrison? Classic.
Yeah.
Classic problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He gets it all the time.
Totally. Or Hank Pym Morrison from Ant-Man.
We've got a
we're off to a rocking start.
We've got a joke in the chat that really is going to be hard to speak. Luckily, we can make it just show up on the screen.
The door should be. All right, Frigby. I need you to get an avatar so we can see your real face. But I mean, you don't have to. This isn't abuse, bullying, cyberbullying. I'm also not entirely. I'm still not convinced that Frigby's a person that isn't Michael from a separate account.
Could be one of those sentient robots.
Sentient robots.
I mean, it's not hard to I forgot about that drop.
You're good. We're just about done with the vocals on it, and
I went to your
get
screen.
that.
I guess you're not doing anything. I am
looking for a funny snake that I can turn into a door.
I am just trimming this up for reference. So the thing about Large Marge, obviously we're live action here. And then she turns and it's clearly a stop motion, like person, and then eyes and mouth and crazy hair. I think I can do. I think the easiest thing is going to be.
I mean,
it's
a phenomenal sculpt.
It really is. It is. I think the simplest version of this, for my sake today, is going to be just to film. Is have this turn, basically have a base of my real face, and then add like stop motion eyes and mouth, stop motion looking eyes and mouth and stuff too.
I can maybe help you build some of that stuff. Are you going to? Would you imagine that you're sort of doing a 2D effect where it's basically on top of the footage, so you're not needing?
Exactly.
Perfect.
I'll start with some like warp and distortion that will help the transition into stop motion-y looking stuff. I mean, there's also a part of me that's like, we could make a stop motion. That's going to take the whole show. The stop motion like face to match, where we could do this like they did it.
And then we make it into an Instagram filter or whatever filter.
You're right. So let's keep the base
that kids are on.
That's smart. Let's keep the base a normal face. I couldn't. I was trying to go into Queen now that I rhymed that. But so that way we can actually take the same assets and use them to do an Instagram filter. I'm a big fan of this. Let's do it.
That's fantastic. My goodness. While you start to get set up, just to be redundant, I can talk more about the very end of this crazy intro. So this is kind of fun. We eventually got to this spot where we can do the whole little like panorama thing. And then our transition into this stop motion studio. We've just sort of been trying to do, for all of our intros, have them sort of fade into or feature like After Effects layers, sort of, show what we do on the show as opposed to just being totally immersed. And this one, I didn't want to do a digital aspect. I really wanted to do something that reminded me of the way that Leica started showing off their some of their stop motion, which is really cool.
Yeah, when you showed it to me, I thought of the shot at the end of Kubo.
Totally. And one of these days, we'll get one of the animators from Kubo, Kevin Perry, on the show. Kevin Perry also has an amazing set of other visual effects skills as well. If you don't know Kevin,
I didn't connect Kevin Perry of meme stardom, superstardom, was also Kevin Perry of that shot at the end of Kubo.
It's crazy. He did the Kubo sliding on the ground and like putting the sword up. And at some point we'll also we'll get the writer and original director of Kubo, Shannon Tyndall, on the show. Shannon is about to get an Ultraman movie onto Netflix. It was teased at, I can't remember what they call it on Netflix. Geek Week? It's not Geek Week. It's like...
Oh, yeah. Tadum or something? No.
It's called... Yeah, I can't remember. But anyway, it's teased on there. So you can go see a few shots from Ultraman before there's an official trailer. And then we'll try to book Shannon sometime around then. So this part was a lot of fun. And let me switch over to my actual 3D setup for this. So our studio is this really bizarre space where, let me switch to a side view here. So we had this like card of this generated background, and then we had this table here. And then we had the two of us filmed at different times and places, obviously. Versions of ourselves. Why isn't my camera updating? Did I kill something? That's weird. Let me just go back to the rendered out version.
I'm just going to be over here recording a plate. Don't mind me.
Nice. I don't know if I need to clear my cache or whatever. My video isn't updating. I do not like that. Like everything is working, but just the display isn't. So I must have crashed. Maybe I should close one or two of my versions of Cinema 4D open. In the meantime.
Are you going to show off how to make the doors at any point, Hash, before we get too far down?
Oh yeah. Well, let's show off the door since I have all these things open. Let me go to where was that? Isn't there an image that I wanted to use? Image in new tab. All right. So just for dumb, whatever, I'll do this snake. And so I'm using a lot of the cool like built-in tools in Photoshop, the latest version. I think this is the Photoshop beta. There might be a more updated version, but this works all right. So you can grab something like this, and then a lot of the time, say, select subject and get something that's pretty good. So I don't know how well
that is pretty good
on there, but I'm just going to get rid of some of the weird grass that was on that side, and some of this shadow here, because that shadow wouldn't technically be part of the actual snake. And then this is probably
the shadow's not part of
enough. Oh, that was one of my favorite songs growing up.
Me too.
Very inspirational, you know.
Surprisingly emotional song too.
It is. It goes through that. I love that we had a discussion about how like all of the 90s sitcoms have that Dark Night of the Soul verse like in them.
When you're lost out there and you're all alone. And the lion is waiting to carry you home. Yeah, all of them have a Dark Night of the Soul. There's got to be at least one moment in the 8-hour-long intro for an 80s sitcom in which the song takes a turn to where you don't know if it's going to come back from it. You know, this might be the end.
It would be very sad if they didn't.
Yeah, the lion.
I guess the show would be over. But so what I did is I cut out a little shape like this snake or velociraptor or whatever, and just put it in front of a black background in Photoshop. And then I used this little technique that I call diffusion, basically, because it sort of simulates diffusion. You can basically click on this little button right here that says Quick Mask here, and then you go to Edit, Fill, and then for here you choose a color, and whatever color you choose, look at the brightness value, and whatever number you select for that is basically like feeding. I'm going to feed this to generative fill, but I'm going to use this brightness slider like a diffusion slider. So if I want it to resemble the photo completely, I would want this at 0, and that will just return the photo to me. But if I put it all the way at 100, it will generate something completely different, like using none of the original. So I want something somewhere in this like golden middle range here. So I'm going to go to, let's see, I'll do those 2 steps again just so everyone can see them. So you have some image like this, and then you press this button right here, the Enable Quick Masks, and then Edit, Fill, and then for my color, I'll choose a color. Let's go with 44% right now. And I say, okay. And it masks it like that. And then I just click to turn that off again, which is really weird. And now, if I say generative fill, I can say like a wooden carving of a snake shape and painted sign or something. And then when I press generate, what it's going to do is it's going to use that 44% value to sort of do a little generation here. Like, look at this. Turn the snake into a wooden snake.
You've shown me this process 20 times. You've shown it on the show. You've shown it to me in real life. And I do it wrong every time. Photoshop needs to just add a little slider underneath the generative fill field so that it's not this.
It really
backwards.
Does. One thing that I did for myself was over here in my actions, I have this whole diffusion folder. Mm-hmm. And under there, I have like diffuse me 33, diffuse me 44, 55, 65, 70, 20. And
Hashi, can you explain exactly what this diffusion thing is actually doing? Because some folks, not to name names, are a little confused in the chat.
Oh, gotcha. So
It's you. Just say your name, Michael.
No, I popped up who it was on the screen. It was,
Oh, sorry. I missed the joke.
Basically, I'm using the word diffusion slightly incorrectly here. A lot of the time, if you're using some type of AI engine to generate a new image, the way it generates that is from a random noise pattern that it refines and refines until it looks like a photograph. But if you're using a diffusion model, you start with a photograph and then basically diffuse that out into a noise pattern. And then a computer guesses more what it looks like going backward. So if you feed it a picture of this snake, for example, and you only start to scatter the pixels about 44% to make a noise pattern, and you've also told it in a prompt that it's supposed to be a wooden snake, it will try to resolve all of those things together. Does that make sense?
No.
That's what I mean by diffusion. And so in this case, the way you can fake it in Photoshop, because there's not a distinct setting for it, is with this quick masks tool. Because it's basically making a quick mask of your whole document and if you use the fill tool, it will fill in that mask with whatever brightness ends up being that.
quick mask is like putting a mask on a layer with black to white values, but it's just a quick temporary step in a process. So when Hashi sets it at something below 50, you won't really see any dancing ants. But you can actually literally paint on it too and give different amounts of selection in different parts. It's an old way of doing masks before layer masks even existed, I think. But it gives you varying amounts of selection based on how black or white the image is that you're painting. But it gives it to you in this like weird red overlay thing, because that was how they used to do it back in the day. It's kind of an old tool that's got new use with the fact that you can like halfway generatively fill something.
It is very cool for those purposes. And like the next thing that I could do with this is I could say, it's possible that if I select the original pixels, they'll sort of match up. I guess not really. Let's just grab this and we'll rasterize this. I like this one the most. I'll rasterize this layer and then I will do the select subject again, which is a little annoying, but generative fill is not working with alpha channels yet. So this
Speaking of generative fill, we haven't seen his face today.
Generative fill. Nice. So it turned this into its own little layer like that. I used the select subject thing. I guess I could have clicked remove background probably. And then I'll call this like snake
Pliskin.
And then I will also select all of its pixels by just right-clicking on the layer and saying select pixels. And then I'm going to go down here to my layer stack and I'm going to say go to paths. Oops, what am I doing? Oh, sorry.
I will say, Hashi, your screen is coming through somewhat choppy. So you're kind of like stop motion computer screen. So it's on brand, but it's a little, if you're trying to like make a circle or like wave in a general area with your mouse, we're just getting like two little points of it, and it's just.
Oh, I can see on the playback. Okay, so I'll move very slow and steady, then. So you can turn a selection into a work path that will come up in your paths over here. And if you do that, then you can say export or file, I think it's file export paths to Illustrator. And then you can save this as like snake. And then I'm also going to take the layer itself of the snake and I'm going to copy it, make a new document really quickly so I can paste it and it'll be cropped down like that. You could also run the save layers to files function if you're doing this with a lot of them, which I learned about yesterday. But I'm going to export this nicely cropped thing. Export as a quick PNG. A snake. I feel like this is boring.
What?
I don't know if this is fun for anyone.
All right, look,
you get it.
We'll put some music to it. I don't have anything currently loaded except...
If you have any VFX and Kill, I feel like that's a worthy jam.
Well, I had to empty the Pocket Operator to start on a new jam, which I haven't really gotten very far into. If you're looking for Deputy Dewey's theme from Scream, which is actually just a reused track from Hans Zimmer's score from Broken Arrow, or Scream 2, rather. But instead of instruments, it's my voice. That I can provide.
So we import the file and we put it in here. All right, I've imported that little path file right here. I'm going to blow this up here, and I'm going to toss it into an extrude object like this. It's so beautiful. I'm going to extrude a little bit less than that. I want it to be a little door. Then I'm going to create a new material. On this material, let's import that original image. So let's load our snake.
That's all I can do today.
That was pretty good.
Thanks.
Well, Justin Leduc would very much like to be able to walk to that song at their wedding.
It's funny because it's perfect.
It really is. All right, I'm going to bring the
Jason Murphy wants to get their face in the stream, so here we go. The Jason Murphy, this is for you. There, now you're in the stream.
What up?
Jason
Welcome to the stream.
Michael Powlack says the shape looks like the ampersand in the VFX and Chill logo. It does, kind of.
It does.
Meanwhile,
Now,
if anyone was
Hashi-
wondering what was on my screen, it's just this.
Perfect. That's how you answer every FaceTime call.
Yes, is with this. It pops up and then out.
This is all you need for the filter. Just when you open your mouth, this pops up in the place of your face.
Yeah, these fly out of your mouth. Let's see.
So I've made this little material that is just that snake, basically. And one thing that I thought would happen right away is that I could just drag this right onto this and it would work. But it doesn't actually align properly. There's some stuff that's wrong here. So that's because I have the vector shape that I exported from Photoshop. I put it inside an extrude object, and that's great. But this doesn't natively have its own UV tag. It hasn't really been told what to do yet. So in this case, I'm just going to go up to Mesh, UV, and then the, whoops, I guess I've got to bake it, huh? I forgot. Because it doesn't want you to bake it.
You don't have to bake it. Just throw material on it, and you can generate UV coordinates by just throwing the material on it. In fact, here, just throw the material on it real quick, and if you click on the UV tag, you can see what kind of projections it's using. Like, it's trying. One thing you might do is in the selection area for your material, go back to the material tag, and you see where it says, no, not the material itself, the tag on the model. And see where it says selection? The selection is where you can drop. Yeah, selection. Yeah, right there. Selection is where you can drop in, like, a vertex map or a polygon selection tag or whatever. In this case, there are also some hidden selections. So you can type in C1, capital C and 1, and that will give you the texture will only be on cap number 1. C2 will be on the back cap. And then rounding would be for any bevels. And then so you can have 5 different materials stacked on there, caps, one on each cap, one on each bevel, and just one on the extruded side, all by putting C1, C2, R1, and R2, and then nothing. That's
ridiculous.
You have 5 different materials.
I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I like it. I'm going to switch this UV mapping to just frontal. Oh, it didn't do it? Maybe it, or do I mean flat? I swear one of these worked. I mean, cubic technically works, but I don't know why I'm not getting what I think I should be getting.
Neither.
I feel like, okay, I'm going to flatten it for a second and figure out why. I don't know why that's the shape that I'm getting of it. Very silly. This is dumb.
No, well, okay. Let's take a break from something dumb and go to something serious. I'm just going to turn this snake into wood real quick.
Okay, so we'll review these steps again because they're easy to forget.
Yes, walk me through it.
All right.
Hang on. Real quick, before you actually do that, Hashi, I would like you to. I need you to step back a second because I think we've got an opportunity to show a workflow enhancement in your Illustrator Cinema 4D thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, go grab your Illustrator file. Just go to Explorer.
Oh, just let me pull it up in the thing.
Yeah, and then pull up Cinema 4D behind it because there's an easier way to do what you're doing. What you initially did. You don't have to import and then extrude and all that. There's a special little thing. So go to wherever you've got your Illustrator file and pull up Cinema 4D.
All right, let me just put this in the background here.
All right, now just drag your Illustrator file into Cinema 4D.
No way. Okay, so I was bringing in the snake. So bring it in.
There's a whole special object that it creates. Just hit OK, and you'll see what happens. It'll make you a special object. Wait, which version of Cinema 4D are you using?
20. Oh, I'm in 2024.0.1.
Hashi's in 2022.
This should still work. What options did you just get pulling up?
Obviously the embryo outline option.
Let's see here again. We got Snake AI presets. This is all I got. Connect splines and group splines.
You save that as an Illustrator 8 file. You don't have to, if you don't save it as an Illustrator 8 file, if you just save it as a regular Illustrator file, Cinema 4D has a new thing that works mo better.
It's got a new thing.
So in that case, what was it?
Go to Illustrator, save it as a new Illustrator file.
Select pixels, and then I'll go to paths, and then I'll create from work path. So now I've got a work path, and then I'm going to go file, export paths to Illustrator, the work path, and then I'll say OK, and then probably down here.
No, you have to go into Illustrator. Photoshop saves it as the old file because Photoshop hasn't been updated.
Oh, get your act together, Photoshop. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna pass this.
In your case, it's no big. It's not as much fun. But if you draw something in Illustrator, there's a whole cool Illustrator import tool that shows up. So instead of having to create instead of having to create the extrude, like it makes an extrusion for you. Like it's a whole object called the vector import object, and it gives you controls over height, and it also gives cool stuff. You have multiple layers in your Illustrator document. It's got a layer offset, so you can automatically stack your layers in Z space and spread them out, and all kinds of really handy stuff without you having to build it by hand. So if you've got a layered Illustrator file and you want to just simply extrude it, just drag that baby create it in Illustrator, drag that baby right into Cinema 4D, and you've got a bunch of handy controls right on top of each other for you.
All right, that does sound like it would be pretty cool. I unfortunately don't.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I forgot Photoshop has yet to update them to match with a modern Illustrator. It's fine. It's fine.
So I'm just doing a dumb little. Let's mirror the. I don't know why. I had no trouble when I did it before. I just had it automatically UV itself with whatever.
It's getting to be.
So I made doors. That's what I did.
It's getting to be 12:52. So we should jump into doing some kind of stop motion stuff.
This is ridiculous.
We have a ton of stuff we can talk about too, about different ways to recreate stop motion in Cinema 4D and After Effects.
Absolutely. So let's start by turning this snake into wood. No, let's not. We don't have time. Goodbye, snake.
Oh, come back, Snake. Aww.
He's going away. Goodbye, snake.
I am going to point out, just because I'm proud of it, and take a little bit more time. I want to share my. Whoops. Am I sharing? There we go. I want to share this little stop motion section. So what we've got here is, like us just miming, doing some stuff, but I took a lot of care to have the table actually flipping through the different props that are being switched in and out throughout, and the little set of pliers that kind of dances around. And also, one really fun thing to do in compositing is to have all of these shadows on the CG table that feel interactive with our hands and the contact. So, like, we'll cast little shadows onto the model and onto the table and onto the edge of the table and stuff like that if we're nearby it, which was a lot of fun to do. And I did that with a fun, sneaky tip that you can do in Element if you're doing something live in After Effects to do. So I'll show that off. Should I show that off now, or should I show that off later?
I don't know. Show it off whenever you want to show it off.
That's a good point. I'll just show it off now, and then we can move on real quick. It's this wild little thing right here, which is I have Seth arm shadows and I have Hashi's arm shadows, and these are the shadows of our arms, which are very, very cool. But basically, one of the things you can do if you want to do some kind of a live shadow interaction, you'll notice that I have a little mask up here and a little mask down here, and that's because Element sort of like auto scales things, and so if you have a top and a bottom corner, now I have this little mask that I can move anywhere within this square. And what it actually becomes is inside here. I'll pull it up. You could do this with a rotoed character if you did a baked all their keyframes or something like that. But in this case, I'm just doing this little thing right here that looks like these. Look at this. All these little like horseshoe goofy shapes here. But they live respond to whatever I do to the mask on the outside. And then I tell their material to cast shadows, but not to be visible to the camera. And so when I turn that off, I say, okay. And then when I go to this view right here, center this, you can see that if I go to the arm shadows and grab like this little vector shape, if I slide it around, you'll see that the shadow of my arms reacts to it. Yeah, right there on this table, yeah. You can sort of do this. And so I went through, there's only maybe 40 frames or something like that, and just went around and kind of tried to figure out where can I slide this shadow to look like these hands are interacting with this model, because it's casting a shadow in front of the actual light, wherever that is. I could pull it down more to put it in front of this edge of the table and stuff like that. So a very fun little tip if you're ever trying to do contact shadows and overlapping and stuff. A stand-in shadow caster. Anyway, that's that tip.
Sweet.
It's a good tip. Now, I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about what I made for the little promo this week, but I don't know if I have the files on this machine to talk about, because I love being able to do stop motion in 3D. It's tons of fun. But I think I did it on the other machine.
Looks awesome. Let me see if I can open this up here.
Oh, wait, here it is. I do have it.
You do have it? Excellent.
Well, I don't have the video handy, but I do have my file.
Oh, here, I'll play the video and then we can... So check this out.
Did you use my favorite little tag in cinema for this?
I didn't, actually.
Well, then never mind.
I know.
I discovered that tag working on Sketch. We're talking about the track modifier tag, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Oh, yes, we do need to talk about that.
I found that while working on Sketch, and it was very, very useful.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, here, let me share my screen here real quick. We can have a look at things. Let's see. We'll just try that. And
there we go.
Yeah, there we go. So, what I've got going on here, let me get out of this camera here, is I've got the VFX and Chill logo sitting here. And I've just made it just kind of from scratch, moving you move the layers around.
Nice.
I threw it into a volume builder and a volume mesher just to kind of get it to kind of blob together. Let me turn off all this stuff.
That's cool.
So it just helps
me of
it.
Cheetos or something delicious right now.
Yeah, because I just wanted it to look like it's made out of clay, so I kind of blobbed it together with that. Then I did my favorite thing where I put the remesher on stuff because it gives you this nice flow without it, crunchy with it, nice lovely flow, and more similar polygon sizes and whatnot. Then I got the bend deformer on here. Let me get rid of these lines.
Michael's got the bends.
So very handy if you want something to bend in the middle. All the people are like, well, why doesn't the bend deformer work both ways? It does when you put it into unlimited mode. Limited, it will just bend right there where it's at. But in unlimited mode, it bends on both sides of itself and kind of bends all around. So that's how I unbent the text that way. Then we got displacer big, which gives us here. Let me turn the bend off so you can just see it on its own.
That's exactly what I did for the curve on the doors that I'm abandoning now.
Overall shape kind of changes like you would if you had to try to mess with, making a big model pull around. And then displacer little gets all these little like chunky bits of like fingers were touching it. I didn't go so far as to put fingerprints on it, but this is all I did. I just had a little camera moving around to go kind of come out. And
that is a good tip to do to layer up displacers whenever you're doing something like that. Like with noise patterns and displacers, it's really great to have like one big noise pattern that creates the notion of like how much distortion you're going to have.
Yes.
So that detail, that smaller one is great.
Yeah. Then I've got a Grayscale Gorilla Cam to kind of make the camera wander a bit, so it does not quite exactly lined
up. Like a gorilla.
Like a gorilla is trying to do the camera, yeah. So it just gives it it just adds a little bit more imperfection to it. And then to make it have that stop motion-y look, I did not use the track modifier tag, which would be a good way to do it. I just went to my project settings, just rendered it in 10 FPS. For my project settings my project settings and my render settings both matched 10 frames per second.
And that's fun.
Remember, Sim's got it in two different spots.
That's fun. But what I do like. If you use if you would use the track model, okay, let me start over. If you would use the track modifier, you could have had the camera moving on ones and the animation moving on different number, and which creates a very cool look that is also very cool. Bye.
Oh, and it would be very cool to do it because some stop motion is done that way because they don't have the time to animate the characters on ones, but they do to get the camera on ones. If you're not familiar with what Seth is talking about, the link is in the chat, but I'll make a new file here just real quick to show you kind of what it does. I'll just animate a very stylish cube going from here, then across, 30 frames. Going to here. So that's our moving cube here. Boom. Very thrilling. But if you add the track modifier tag to it, you can say, hey, I want it to be posterized and say, frame step of 6, for example. So you get motion every 6 frames. You can offset it and play the time factor. There's also fun things you could do like spring. Is also cool. So it kind of makes it springy. Well, that won't spring because it's not linear. It's a very smooth keyframe. So let's get a harsher keyframe here. Well, go select all our keyframes, say linear instead of smooth. So we should get a bit more of a springy motion. You know what? We need faster motion and more strength, obviously. There we go. So that's one way to do it, which is very handy. But here, let me try this. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna try posterization and a spring. See what that does.
Layering up the things.
So it springs into each position. Let me spread my time posterization.
Oh, I see. So because it posterizes first, so it's
boing, 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 boing. So the spring happens
effect.
after the posterization happens. So the spring knows that it's moving from here to here, and so it gives us some spring. Let me make it bigger. So boing, 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 boing. Isn't that kind of fun? Yeah. So if you didn't know, you can layer them up.
That's a really cool way to turn 2 keyframes into something way more exciting.
And it's the great thing. Like one of my favorite things about Cinema 4D is it's so procedural. So you can stack all this stuff, and it's all on top of like smooth motion. Like stuff is moving.
Motion.
So you can still animate whatever, and then that just procedurally on top of it happens. It's very cool. I'm curious. I have not tried this, so this is about to get crazy. If I say, hey, I want these all to be 50. Oh, by the way, pro tip, if you want to change 3 of these values at once, instead of going here and saying, this one's 50, enter, and this one's 50, blah, 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 go down, you just select, instead of selecting here, you click here, it selects all of them, then type in your new value, so let's say 40, and you hit Control, Enter, it'll change all 3 of them at once. Very handy little tip. And then, wrong button. Alt, click. Here, another handy tip. If you've got something selected and you Alt click on something to create something in Cinema 4D, it'll automatically nest the thing under the thing you've got selected. So, like, for example, if I want to clone these cubes, if I just click cloner, then I have to go up here and put the thing in the cloner. But if I Alt click, it's already in the cloner for me. It's very nice and handy. I'm going to make a little grid. I just want to see if the track modifier tag works on... it won't work on that because... forget it. It won't work on that. I'll try it just in case. Just to see, but I do not think what I'm thinking will work. Well, I think it will not work, is what I'm saying. But
I like to see things that will work or not.
You never know. We'll just see what happens. So we're gonna.
There's nothing better than experimenting with.
Yeah.
Just getting to do little crash test simulations kind of stuff. It's just very fun.
Yeah, we'll just see what happens with the track modifier tag, but after dynamics, and just see what it does. I don't think it'll work. Yeah, because this is dynamics, not animation. But it was worth a try. Now, if I baked out this animation... you
could bake it to that, and then...
then it would work on dynamics. I was just curious if it would happen live.
It's worth checking that out. I like that.
It was worth trying.
Justin Leduc is saying that when I was a tween, I participated in an online stop-motion contest. The subject and the topic could be anything. So he just filmed himself and his buddy doing stupid stuff and applied posterized time.
Wow.
In After Effects. Genius.
Excellent.
It's
turns
true.
Out you won.
I mean, technically, everything is made frame by frame. It's just that some are made at 1 frame per frame.
The pleasure of meeting and giving with the unleashed wrath of Dave Laurent. I did want to say, if you want a nice fingerprinty thing, Hashi has something to show off.
Yeah,
let me unshare my screen.
Oh yeah,
we had this idea before the show that we were like, so for the thumbnail. Did I talk about this on the show or just before the show?
Before the show.
Okay, so where is my mind? There it is. So this thumbnail, working on it before the show using these incredible characters that Hashi made. In Element added a. Why don't I just open it up? They look like this.
This is I love whoever this character is, and I only hope to live up to him the rest of my days.
It's the most you that anything that we've made has ever been. It's the most the accurate digidouble of you.
Hey, you want to talk about After Effects?
It's the most Rick and Morty version of you too. These eyes are where it's going to show off. So it came in, it looks like that, right? So if I go through and I just turn off the normal, that's kind of how it came in.
Tisk.
And so, which is awesome, so I just applied this gray normal not Grey Normal, sorry. It was part of a pack that I have. I applied this just displacement normal map onto it, and it gave it this kind of clay texture. But I was talking to you before the show, and we were like, it would be cool if you had this animated so the displacement changed every frame. And not only that, but you could put fingerprints in it too to make it feel actually, stop motion claymation. And you revealed some cool trivia I had never heard.
Oh yeah, I think somewhat in conjunction with. Let me find out where I can pull that up here.
I mean, if you don't have it on hand, that's fine. We can.
Oops! Oh, I had it. I lost it.
I'll just watch this. Well,
perfect.
This is done. It's finished.
Yeah.
Progress is happening.
It's finished. That's it. No. Right.
So this is our free time. We can talk about anything right now.
Well, we don't know what will get picked up and then resent out.
Okay, step forward. Stream's back.
It is?
Yay.
Okay.
Welcome back, friends. Sorry, we don't know what is up with the stream, or we do, and we're just trying to not complain too loudly. But Seth, if you want to share, switch back over to me. I can show you this thing that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. So, no idea how well this will show up on over streaming or whatever, but I made this a little After Effects file that just kind of generates procedural grime and like glass kind of effects like that. And then a little bit later after that, I made a let's see. Oh, so it's mostly fractal noise, CC ball action, and roughen edges.
CC ball action.
Heck yeah.
CC ball action.
That is coming in real hot, by the way, Seth. Like, it is clipped.
That's the only way it happens. That's the only way it comes in.
I don't know what happened to my...
But, hey, if you all want to download that handy procedural imperfections thing, the link is in the chat. It was part of his Into the Looking Glass VFX side quest, where he was talking about, mirrors and reflections and whatnot. But he wanted to have some sort of imperfections on the glass, and so instead of any normal way of doing it, he just made a procedural After Effects thing to make
imperfections in the glass.
Grunginess. Yeah, so if you go to that link in the chat underneath the video tutorial, there's a Get the Project Files Here link. But I would say once this stream is over, you should probably also watch the tutorial. It's a pretty good one.
It was a very, very silly little thing. It's fun to make little procedural thumbprints and stuff like that. But this is sort of all to go back to the idea that one of the reasons that stop motion looks so stop motion-y is because there is tons of little teeny imperfections all along the way. And
imperfections
Seth had
along
an idea, which was imperfections along the way.
Just for you and me.
Which contribute to just that cool, it makes it different from like a CG look, like even if you're simulating it. Though we're getting pretty good at simulating some pretty cool things. I mean, Michael, the VFX and chill letters are very, very cool.
But the cool thing is you could take your procedurally generated imperfections and then feed them into a bump map inside of whatever 3D renderer you're using, in your case, Element in After Effects, and you would have those procedurally chunky generated things. I'm using a noise in Cinema 4D to distort the text here, but you could do it right inside After Effects with that fingerprinty version of the generator that I believe is in the download file as well.
Excellent. I'm going to save. I want to make sure that the fingerprints were included in that, because I know that for that matrix thing, I did all the smudges and stuff because they were related to the glass. But if I didn't share it, then I do definitely have. Let's see.
My bots, Frigga Chillweather and Justin Leduc, are fighting the chat again.
Fighting.
It's the only fighting related one I had.
That's a perfect fighting one. All right, so here's my here's the fingerprint generator. file right here.
Pretty sure that's in the download too.
Okay, so hopefully that's included in there. So basically, it just does this. Just every frame, it generates a new sort of. I mean, they look somewhat like fingerprints.
And hey, if you are doing the FUI for a cop show, you just need to go through a database. Let me tell you how useful this tool is.
Ooh, absolutely. So here's what we've got. We've got some fractal noise, just like that. Boop. And then threw some turbulent displace on top of it, so we got a little bit of that. Polar coordinates, turned it into a little thing like that. And then transformed it in a little bit like this. And then basically did that with a handful of other little cell patterns and things kind of multiplying on top of it until the ultimate result is just a unique little handprint every so often. Oops. Oh, I opened up my old file. But anyway, earlier Justin the Duck was talking about real stop motion, and while we're slightly on the subject, I wanted to bring up this, which is pretty cool. Oh. This is, let's see, I don't know if I'm sharing any sound or not.
I don't know.
We'll see. So I might be sharing sound, might not. This is a little stop motion animation from about 2 years ago by my kid Jamie. Let's give it a try.
It was a great idea to come to the beach. Come on, let's get in. Ooh, the water's just right. Here's the ball. Catch. Uh-oh, wave. Run. I'll go grab our surfboards. Yeah.
Is the sound going through?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Cool.
Let's get ready. Wipe out. Woo, I did it. I think it's time to go now. Oops, forgot the ball.
Yes! That rules, Jamie.
So cool. And one of the things that I love about this is the...
Sorry, I was reserving the entire drop.
Look at I love the brilliance of this, of the getting in the water, which I love that Lego
getting in the water
uses
is
a lot
so
of really
good.
cool
That's so smart.
things like this. But I'm very, very proud of that movement. This is all self-taught and experimenting with stop motion studio. And then also, Seth, I had seen this one at the time when it was produced, but I didn't ever see this one, which is going to get its world premiere right now. This one, I believe, is called VFX and Chill, or maybe even VFX and Friends.
Ooh, the original title?
The original title. That was the original title of our show before we realized, why isn't it Chill? It should be Chill. That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. So for the first time online, and also the I think the second time I've seen this. So
Hello and welcome to VFX and Friends with Seth and Hashi. As you can see, I am now in a green screen room, and I will be showing you how to turn 8-bit. Hello, as you can now see, I am made 100% out of total pixels. The way to do this is go to this, click the settings, go to filters. And
this actually looks more like our current VFX Chill.
It does.
That's the end now, but that makes me so happy. It's so fun.
Way to go,
So,
Jamie.
indeed.
We love it.
Now, one thing that I did these were created at 5 frames per second, and I was curious in the background. I just uploaded this into Topaz, and I have not tried taking a look at this yet, but I tried seeing what happened if I told Topaz to output a 30 frames per second version of it. So this might be very silly. And also, who knows, my stream might be coming through choppy anyway. I just want to see what it did with that.
It was a great ready to come to the beach.
Oh,
Come on,
weird.
Let's get in.
Whoa! Whoa!
The water's just right.
Oh, those patterns it
Here's
doesn't
the
like.
ball.
Yeah, it's like
Whoa!
some of them were like
Wave.
warping.
Run! I'll go grab our surfboards. Yeah.
Whoop.
Here you go. Let's get ready. Wipe
This is one of the reasons why stop motion. You've got to really do it.
It's time to go now. Oops, forgot the ball.
There's no digital version that looks cool. This was weird. Like all of these things were weird when like the Lego patterns would shift to be somewhere else.
Like it's like this one
Like
section
that,
is
look at
definitely
that.
moving. Like, but
That's a great effect for someone just losing their mind.
I think a lot of the AI videos are good effect for someone losing their mind.
That's very true. We're probably going to be
Most
seeing
AI
too
videos.
much of that in the future.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Jamie, for your contribution to our stop motion
Incredible,
show.
Jamie. Love it so much, Jamie. Anyway, back to people losing their minds. I don't really know what to do with this, so I was going to try out taking your dirty glass texture and pipe it into Element and seeing what it looks like on these stop motion dudes.
I'm just muting my sound because I have a dog
you
in
would
here with
have
me
to
being
put
really...
that into the bump map as a bump map, not as a normal map.
Well, Michael,
now, there are ways to take images and make normal maps out of them, including with Substance Sampler.
I just crashed Element.
Part of the Adobe Substance 3D collection. And if you're interested in getting Substance 3D collection and Maxon 1 all together in one shebang, there's a deal for new folks that if you want to like really bump up your game a lot, you can get the entire Substance collection and all of Maxon tools like Cinema 4D and ZBrush and all the Red Giant stuff and Forger and add Maxon moves, like everything. All of the things, the link is in the chat for the Maxon 1 and Adobe Substance 3D bundle.
Sounds great. So you're crashed out of some stuff, Seth?
I'm opening it back up right now. Let me see.
Excellent.
If it worked.
I mean,
Nope.
Seth's computer is doing a lot with the live streaming and all the drops and the YouTube comments and
The YouTube comments are all you, my boy.
Element. It's feeding through your machine.
What? That's fine.
That's very cool. We've given Michael the ability to share things from his computer.
Well, the really
Seth, which is pretty wild.
The really great thing is that I can take comments out of context. So now Scott says that I'm awesome.
You are awesome.
My favorite AI generated text.
Perfect.
Wow.
So I kind of no, we can't go backwards. Although I feel like this is what your prompt appears to use a language we don't speak. You don't speak Snake Plissken? Okay.
Just tell us we're poor spellers. That's fine.
Yeah. Kurt Russell.
Where'd you learn to spell?
It's fun to find out if people are famous enough for it to say no.
Well, what's interesting is if you go to the Adobe stock, you can search for Tom Cruise, and it'll pull up a bunch of like similar to Tom Cruise related things, but none of it is, I think, tagged that way. But there will be like lookalikes and the Top Gun logo for some reason, and the Mission Impossible, the most recent movie logo.
That shouldn't be in Adobe stock.
No, it shouldn't.
It is, and it's like an exclusive or something, so it's probably some weird. It might have been used or something to make that, and so.
All right, dirty glass texture. Dropping it in here, and then I'm gonna say, "Hey, Element, use it as a custom layer, please."
Now, do you need to freeze frame it? I guess you're only on this one frame anyway, but
Only this one frame, but I also want to see what it looks like as it animates, you know?
I love how much that texture makes them look like kind of like a hand painted, like paper mache.
100%.
Dollar sculpture. It's pretty cool.
The thing you had told me earlier was it Aardman that actually on their first CG project?
Yes, when Aardman partnered with DreamWorks Animation to make Curse of the Were-Rabbit, the movie, it was the first time that they were going to be doing their characters in CG for some stuff. A lot of it was, as I recall, actually stop motion, but then they had like crowds of the rabbit characters like hopping around and stuff at some point in the movie, and so they augmented with CG. But what I thought was really cool is they got all of the artists who did the stop motion work, and they made little reverse impressions of their fingerprints, and then used those as the displacement pattern for when the characters are warping and bending and stuff and getting repositioned. So all of the artists' fingerprints are in there, which is really cool. Which I feel like is basically where you're going with this.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna try.
What I'm imagining is that in this particular setup,
weird. Look at the.
I would be amazed if you get the fidelity there, as opposed to like as a bump map or a displacement map in
totally. It's
cinema.
Giving me very interesting. So let me see if I. By the way, I don't know what this is going to look like animated with me standing behind you. So just a warning for everyone, this could get inappropriate real fast because these are animated. These are from animation sequences that you kicked out. Technically, you're sitting in my lap if we zoom out here.
See, I actually have on my screen right now what Seth's animation, which I was actually very proud of.
Yeah,
so here's
driving.
Seth's animation. Because look at that. He even does like a full little...
That's really good.
Spin the wheel thing, using a little bit of reverse or a little inverse kinematics there. So it was very brief. I was like, I don't think we'll ever be very close up on us. So for this, I obviously sent him to Mixamo, which you've seen our progress or process for a bunch, and so I could get a nice rig out of them. And then did a little IK chain for the left shoulder to the left hand and the right shoulder to the right hand. And then once you have a target point, or a goal rather, for your IK point,
and that's what
like
it's
they're
all
right here, for example. Woo! Woo! You can attach them, you can put them like as hierarchically inside like the steering wheel. And now as the steering wheel turns, even if it does a full turn, it's like you're doing that like the classic like little driver shuffle. Though your arm actually does pass through itself, but you know, you buy it in the wide shot.
Totally.
A lot of fun. You look so sad. Like basically, this is just Corpse Bride and mildly Seth hair.
I would say Corpse Bride, ParaNorman, Coraline
meets Michael. Meets Michael
Basically,
Solowski.
No, I was saying a lot of stop
everyone is
motion
just-
animations are spooky.
Yeah, there's always like kind of gaunt, falling apart people.
ParaNorman is probably my favorite Halloween movie.
All right, I'm going to start building. I want to start building something over here, Seth. While you do that, I don't know what I'm going to build.
Well, this is kind of looking. It's kind of cool, but it's not necessarily anything to write home about. It's
We got.
well, it's still. Let me see if I can just isolate this little area. So, like, if you look at the textures that definitely looks very inappropriate. I'm going to do this.
I'm amazed that it's getting that much detail in there. How are you having to repeat the pattern a lot, or is it just a?
No,
high
I mean
enough?
it hasn't gone long enough for the pattern to repeat.
No, he means
the fidelity of the
in
little
position
bumps.
X and Y.
Oh no!
But-
It's. I mean, I
Is it
just
the
literally
normal,
dropped.
right, I guess
I dropped the glass texture in
that's
as
really
is.
cool.
Yeah.
My gosh.
So it's actually a cool It's a potentially really cool approach, technique.
I like it. I think that we should try to create something in this last little bit of time that is animated and looks that looks stop motion-y. And I think we can combine the two things that we're working with. But I don't know what I want to do that looks stop motion-y yet. I don't know if I want to do another person or if I want to do something more interesting. Oh, there is one thing that I've been excited to try before, which is, let me see. I'm going to try something that I have wanted to for a long time once I log back into Mixamo, even though I was there so recently.
So recently.
Let's see, so I've got this version of me. I'm going to look for a character that has like gloves or something like that I could use. And then I wanted to see if I got an animated character moving around, if I could replace their arms and legs with like literal rubber hoses. So they were completely dynamic. That might be very silly.
No, I think it's the right thing to do.
It looks like I'm going to need more of a cartoon character. Maybe okay. I'm gonna try to build some sort of cartoon character in a short amount of time, so we know it's going to be great.
30 minutes left.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a figure. And then I'm going to throw the figure into a volume builder, and then the volume builder into a volume mesher, like we showed earlier. And then through here, I'm going to do a little combo of turning down the voxel size of the builder, maybe inflating the mesher a little bit. I love this stuff. It's so fun. Basically what Michael did with the text. So let's see. We'll try to get right in between somewhere. Like that looks great. Then I can take this whole object and I can throw it inside one of the, whatchamacallits. Oops. The remesh. And here, I'll throw it into there, and I'll say on the remesh object that it's symmetric across X. And if I press NB, you'll sort of see the beautiful remesh that it's doing there. If I don't have the remesh, it sort of has these little kind of scrunchy, weird things going on, but I can get nice flowing lines like that. For the mesh density, I'm going to actually turn it up. I'm using Cinema like ZBrush. This is very stupid to be doing in Cinema, but I think it'll be fun. So I'll just press C and turn this into an object here, and then I'll jump into sculpt mode and select this object, and then we'll start trying to make it into more of a cartoony thing. And I'm sure at different points I'll throw it back into into a volume builder. Seth, what is one of your favorite anthropomorphic animals?
Anthropomorphic animals aren't all animals.
Or I don't know, like animals you often see.
Animals are not anthropomorphic necessarily.
Anthropomorphic means they have to be talking, and
anthropomorphic means they have human-like characteristics, so wearing clothing, walking on two legs, that sort of thing.
Well, because anthropomorphized trains on Thomas the Tank Engine, they're not walking around.
No, but they have human faces and they talk. And Hashi, you should super be doing this in ZBrush.
I know.
Or in Cinema 4D's sculpting tool set.
See, this is going to be our
Cinema 4D has a sculpting tools too that let you subdivide and stuff too. Like you could This
is going to be our before episode when we do learn ZBrush, then you'll go back and say, look how far we came, and we can play this to like some
It'll be like the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Music.
So we started Halloween. This is how bad it is. And we're going to work our way to Christmas when it's going to be a Christmas miracle that we use ZBrush on the show. This is actually not bad. Hush.
ZRemesher is going to do a great job on fixing it. While Hashi works on this, can we pop to my screen for a second, Seth?
Oh, please.
We absolutely can.
Let me. Yeah, I got to do it. Let me make it happen because I have got
my camera froze.
Something fun to show. Oh,
what? This is we're doing everything so well.
All right, so I got inspired by something that Hashi was said, and I was like, what if we mix our animation with some simulation? So I've got this little, because you were talking like something anthropomorphic, and I was thinking we could tell the tale of this, this little guy like walking around, doing whatever, but I don't want to have to animate him rolling accurately, so I just animated him moving, and then added this simulation tag on it, but with the forces to say follow position, not rotation. So it will always try to get to where it's keyframed to be. And if I take the simulation off, you'll see that my keyframe animation is just doing this, going into the ground, then moving over. So when you enable the simulation on it, then it follows the dynamics, but follows the animation too. So it's a good way to mix the two. But that's too smooth of an animation. I wanted to have some character. So I thought, what if I put the animation tag on there to stop motionize the motions? We get the simulation tag off to show you what it does. So it goes chunk, 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 chunk. And then if we put the simulation on it, you get boop, 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 boop. Very unstable motion. It's not nearly as smooth as it was. So it kind of moves in little chunky little, it just adds a little layer of just interest to the animation that I'm a big fan of. Because it's still, the simulation is only following position this much. If I cranked that up, it would, when we're like that. So it gives you complete control over how much it's trying to follow that animation. And so you can have less. So it just kind of moves real smooth or more and goes doop, 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 doop. So it's a really easy way to add oomph and like texture to your motion that I think is really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that he's rolling around just looking for love. But like
and
nothing too serious, just something very, just strictly.
No, he's not looking for love. He's platonic.
That's true. That's true.
Get it. He's
thank you for grabbing that, Michael.
Platonic. What?
Boom.
Platonic.
Boom.
Beth, how is your computer faring? Is it coming back from the brink?
It is. It's doing all right.
Excellent.
I regret I have not done anything on the show today.
I'm feeling a bit the same way. I'm realizing that perhaps a lot of effort went into this intro, and then I ran through the knowledge gained from the intro faster than I thought I was going to. So, what's going on now? Am I crashing my video card?
You might be. Everything's moving fine on my end.
Let's see. I don't know if I have a video or anything over there.
For now on, when I say motion test, everyone has to wave their arms like one of those wavy guys. So let's try this. Ready and motion test. Okay, good. Not enough elbow movement from you, Michael. I'm needing higher arms and.
Sorry.
But I'm gonna make.
Dixner is really appreciating the platonic joke. They say it's a solid joke.
Who is?
Dixner. Dixner says it's a solid joke. Trying to set up.
Solid.
There we go. All right, I'm ready for my motion test now.
Motion test. Yeah, okay. We passed. So I'll just have to make a drop for that for next week.
Motion test.
And Mahmoud Abu Bakr has a question: Nuke or AE? Well, for us, After Effects, we're all very After Effects-y people. Nuke has its place in higher-end compositing pipelines, but especially with some of the changes in After Effects recently, and of course with SuperComp, you can do a lot of high-end stuff faster in After Effects. I know I've told the story before, but I was talking with someone a few months ago. They'd worked for 6 hours and were not happy with their shot in Nuke. Then 20 minutes of work in After Effects with SuperComp, and they got it to a place they were happier with it at. So I would say if you have super comp in After Effects, you can do a lot with it. But the Nuke and Fusion and other node-based compositors definitely have a place in some pipelines. It handles some things a lot better, like massive EXR sequences, and there's a bunch of stuff. But I mean, the answer is it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing motion graphics, you will not be happy in Nuke. You'll be well, I'm not saying you'll be happy with After Effects, but you'll have a much better experience for motion graphics. If you're doing like real high-end compositing stuff, maybe
Let's drop.
No, I will say, Seth, that someone was wanting to at some point know a little bit more about your music box.
The Pocket Operator?
Yes.
That could be a whole friggin' episode.
And it will be right now.
I'll tell you what I can do. Watch this. So, I believe I can go into here. Yep, I can do this. How much time we got? 20 minutes? We're not going to spend 20 minutes on
20
the
minutes.
Operator. But
Not yet.
good. All right. The graphics card is going to flip out on this.
Sorry, we are taxing our graphics cards extra today.
Taxing our graphics cards. Good graphics cards. Quick time. Boom. Oh, let's see. Display capture. Let's do application capture. Window capture. All right. Transform fit to screen. And now ideally we should be able to go to here and see this guy right here. All right.
Oh my gosh, look at this. This is like we're suddenly in like a like a cool like crafting world online stuff.
So let's make a beat here.
You saw it here first.
We're going to make for motion test, all right? We're going to make a motion test beat. So I'm going to start with these bass hits. Now this sounds like
Awesome.
this is a Carpenter score.
As I watch you do that and me 3D model on the other monitor, I feel like I can't decide. Oh, am I sharing? Maybe I'm not.
No, I guess you're not.
It says stop sharing. What the heck? Confirm stop sharing. Share again.
Let's see. That's what I'm seeing.
That's weird.
Oh, Michael's Skype went away. Michael Skype, REM. Oh, he's
Michael
back.
Skype.
I'm here. I'm here.
Let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing. Michael, are you still sharing?
I am not.
I'm guessing I reconnected, so I'm probably a different
Wait. You
video
are
stream
sharing.
now.
You are sharing. It looks like it might be an issue on my end. Let me see. Share
Here.
screen.
But I realized that you making an active beat and me 3D modeling feels a lot like one of those like keep you engaged videos.
What do you
like
mean? What is that?
Like someone like where it'll be like, here's some content, and also it's going to be split screen with someone like cleaning like toothpaste off of a windshield with a slide or something like that, with a squeegee. Because you're like, I want to see them finish getting this toothpaste off the squeegee and watch this other content.
Okay,
Maybe it's
Seth,
just the ADD. I don't know.
Seth, why is Hashi's screen now smaller? One, and two, when you do your go to your view of your when you go to your view of your little computer, Nick Smith has requested that you flip your video so it's a little more right side up for us.
I guess
like
I
in
can
OBS,
do
like
that.
rotate it. Or,
You're right.
Something.
I can do that. People
And
need this.
Justin Leduc would like some kinetic sand. as well. So,
Kinetic sand. You could probably do that with with pyro.
Yes, you can actually pour out a smoke sim that then freezes in place, and you can do kind of crazy stuff with it, and you could get a magic kinetic sand looking thing out of it.
So let's get.
Oh my gosh, Seth! I don't know why this isn't the entirety of Everyday's show.
It's funny when Hashi talks, or I think when Seth talks, when he laughed a second ago, it killed the audio coming from the device.
Oh, really? All right, let's see. Oh, so this gets very, very redundant.
Redundant, but amazing.
And then we can do this. Here we go.
I'm sorry, when you say redundant, you mean like dun 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 redundant.
So, Michael, I want you to make that sound one more time. Ready and go.
Dun 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 dun
All right.
dun dun.
Oh, I didn't shoot. One more time. And go for it.
Dun 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 dun.
Great.
Dun 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 dun.
All right. I'm going to take out.
Excellent.
If you're just joining us,
If you're just joining us, leave now.
Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun.
And then we got to get Oh, that's not it. Hang on. Motion test. Motion test. Motion test. That's real loud. Motion test.
it is wild.
So now,
Dun
let's see.
dun 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 dun.
I love that I have this now.
Michael Pollack, who by the way, I hope I'm pronouncing your surname correctly. People always pronounce mine correctly, so I don't know why I'm worried about it. Says this sounds like Vanilla Ice explaining how Ice Ice Baby is different from Under Pressure.
No, see, it's what a world we all grew up in, right?
Right. What sounds do I have on here?
Dun dun dun.
Oh, I got Stranger Things on here.
Ooh, there you go.
Dun 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 dun.
That doesn't do anything.
Well, my favorite versions of the Stranger's Thing theme was done by VoicePlay, which is a fun a cappella group. Who, if you haven't heard them before, Valhalla Calling by VoicePlay is amazing. But they do a really good job of the Stranger Things theme, which is them going do 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 do. It's actually really good. Bow 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 bow.
That's pretty cool. Now, Seth, could we? Is there a way for us to? I feel like we should be able to be split screen somehow, or you should be able to float your window in here.
Oh yeah, I can do that.
Oh, that would be cool. While Seth is working that out, I would like to also share that in the chat, Nate Hate says that they think this is Hashi's cue to start spitting some bars over this sick beat. They didn't say the sick beat part. I added that.
I love seeing some Nate Hate in here. I don't see
And Hate, for those of you who may not be aware, Nate Hate is in charge of some of the stuff that Red Giant puts out, including Trap Code Particular. And so, give Nate Hate your thanks. for that powerful
Give
tool.
Nate hate your thanks. Oh God, what did I do?
And also,
just kidding.
Nate has a set of pipes too.
More like Nate Love.
Nate can rock out.
Yes, he can. All right. So.
Of everything that is happening right here.
Yes.
So then we also need let's see.
It's all gonna work, I swear.
So Michael, is it like sans feet on a dog? Like lacking in paws? Paw lack? I'll get it right.
Motion test. Motion test.
Oh, that's
This is ridiculous.
Motion test.
Is that Bart Simpson?
It sounds like it.
Motion test.
So we were at the Nashville Predators game. Was it last week?
Oh, really? You're in
Nashville
Nashville
Predators
so often.
being a hockey team, and the lady behind us, very vocal and very aware of how hockey is played. Like she was great, but she was yelling like all the time about, you know, like whenever the Predators goalie would get out from in front of the goal to move the puck around, she'd be like, "Get back in your hole!" It was quite funny, but she sounded like the natural voice of the lady who does the voice for Bart Simpson. Nancy?
That's Lisa Cartwright.
Nancy Cartwright.
Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nancy Cartwright.
So yeah, her voice sounded like Nancy Cartwright's natural voice, and it was amazing.
Motion test. Motion test. Motion test.
Okay. A little too many things happening.
Oh, we're going Donnie Darko.
Ooh, I should go full Donnie Darko. Let's see. I am going.
Because that is a very particular face that doesn't look like that.
Motion test.
It was the ears. It's the ears looked like Donnie Darko ears.
Motion test. Motion test. Motion test. Motion. Motion test.
One moment, I shall return.
All right. It's just us now, everybody. So what does this need? What else does this need now?
I'm curious what is on the screen, like, of that device. It seems to be unrelated to what you were
mostly.
doing.
So
Okay.
it actually looks like this underneath. It comes like this.
Oh, goodness.
And on the back,
Oh, geez.
it says, designed and engineered by Teenage Engineering, God gives the nuts, but he does not crack them. And so
Nice.
it's a sampler and a sequencer. These, you get 16 banks here. The first 8, you can record melodic samples. So that's where I have your dun dun. So I can So that's in bank 4, and I get all these to be able to play those versions. The bottom 8 store drums, and then you can also store patterns in each of these. So like, And then you can also do effects on top of them.
Yes, but the screen still doesn't seem to be
right. Forgot to say that. That was your original point. So, they're called pocket operators. They're basically built to look like calculators, but they have specific like game sounds built into them when they come. And this one, they're like, there's a Mega Man one that has, I don't think that's the base one. I don't remember what the Mega Man one does, but they come with sounds from these games. And so it's on display here. There is data being displayed. Like, so when I change the tempo, I've got 4 different, I've got hip hop, disco, techno, hip hop, disco, and techno that I can change the tempos on. I can also turn the tempo up and down. You can see the numbers changing there.
Yeah.
So there is data, but it's got this, it's based on this KO game, and it's got those guys just on this animated loop like happening with it. Just wow, that's fast.
Oh, I like that one.
This is a whole world that I was 1000% not familiar with.
Motion test. Motion test.
Wow.
The important question is where do you get one of these, Seth? And when will we be doing our full course in
Motion test.
let's see. Well, I'll show you. They are at... Okay, first off, this is really funny to see with this.
Motion test.
Hang on. It's really funny to watch with that.
Motion test.
See, this is your foot into how these amazing content creators think. A glimpse behind the genius.
So this is Teenage Engineering. They've got... Let's go to their store. They make this incredibly beautiful gear, and they've got all these pocket operators they've made. I have the PO33 KO, which I don't see here, but it exists. And they got
their stuff looks very Dieter Rams heavy.
Oh, 100% Dieter Rams. This guy's basically a glorified Zoom recorder, and it's got this like a scroll wheel on it that allows you to wind it forward and back, and it's just incredibly cool. You see a lot of folks on Instagram like recording daily like loops and stuff with this OP1. It's a really, really cool like synthesizer, sampler, and drum machine. Anyway.
Motion test.
So, Hashi, what are you doing?
I am just working with my
your Donnie Darko Saturday morning cartoon series.
My weird. It's moving a little bit more Roger Rabbit, but now I don't know how to avoid Roger Rabbit.
No one does.
No one. It's just always there.
That's the thing about Roger Rabbit. He happens when you least expect.
I'm getting right into the situations where it would be good to use ZBrush because of.
It is it's killing me watching you do this because just a couple weeks ago I was sat next to an amazing ZBrush artist pretty much all day, sitting there.
What are you saying, Michael?
Away at Adobe Max, and watching you bump up against the limitations that ZBrush blows right through is just killing me.
Oh yeah. This is it. Okay, we need some different materials here. Let's get these eyes going. Let's get some. All right, Seth. I'm gonna need some of your. I need to be able to try out your wild shading ideas.
Wild shading ideas.
Wild shading ideas. I'm just gonna do. Unfortunately, just the other day, I got disconnected from my Grayscale Gorilla thing and have not re-updated.
Oh yeah, we got warned about that by Rick. And he was like, "Hey,
You need to start
here's
taking
the
those
thing."
seriously.
I know.
Hashi,
My
you
goodness.
Hashi, you really should update your Cinema 4D because 2024.1 did bring in even more speed boosts to it. So if you enjoyed the
Even
fact
more
that
speed
2024 is faster, 2024.1 is even faster, especially in scenes with lots of effectors with lots of clones. That's where, it's the speed ups.
So, for example, if I were going to, is this current state to object?
Wed Black says you don't avoid Roger Rabbit, you avoid the Noid. Yes.
Flawless.
Jay Moria says After Effects tutorial, please. A whole bunch on this channel. We were in After Effects earlier today, so if you want some After Effects, you can scroll back a little earlier, or just hop around on our channel. We got a bunch of After Effects tutorials on here for you.
We sure do. Is there anything in specific that you're interested in, Jay? Let us know. I was making a little army of bunnies.
Yeah, After Effects is a very deep and very wide program. So do you want a tutorial on how to do particle effects? Do you want a tutorial on how to do color grading? Do you want a tutorial on how to do motion design? And then you have to be more specific. Like there's so many different tutorial ideas. I've got a whole list of ones I'm planning to make, as a matter of fact. Very excited.
Ooh. Michael has been like burning, the candle at both ends, as they say, making all these crazy.
What are you doing?
Hey, I'm just making sure that this bunny.
Oh, it's the bunny tail. I thought it was just a lot of junk in the trunk.
At first.
It was. I'm gonna go. What I want. I don't know. Bunny could do with some better. This is the most insane thing I've participated in today.
Yeah, my wife somehow hasn't left me yet. Partly because I do this with headphones or in my office. So now, I'm gonna copy Michael.
This is such a shame to our whole community what I'm up to right now.
Both of us.
Hey Seth, could you turn the volume level of that noise machine down just a tiny touch so conversation over it? Split the difference.
Nope.
Karen Lum says that they want to film their friend dance, turn their friend into a cute alien, and put that into a video, and is asking, is there a way to do that? Keeping in mind that Karen has zero 3D or visual effects experience.
But Karen does awesome stuff.
Right? So how would Karen do this? Perhaps Wonder Dynamics?
Well,
maybe?
I think the
Mix
Wonder
them out?
Dynamics is a fantastic option. I mean, it takes care of so many of the steps that you would need to, especially if you're trying to do a performer replacement. I would highly recommend giving that a shot first to see where you can get with it. And then one of the cool things about it, at least in the direction I heard it heading in last, was that they were moving toward being able to share all sorts of 3D assets and stuff with you once you had actually completed a project or whatever. I don't know where they've ended up. I basically got my one dancing velociraptor video out of it, and that was all I needed. So
I'll say, I mean, it really depends on what you're going for. I assume your friend dancing and being a cute alien isn't necessarily have to be super photoreal. But if you want to have your friend be doing the dancing, I would say Mixamo would be a bad way to go. In and you get some anything to do with your friend's actual motion. Now, you could use Max on Moves to get motion capture of your friend into Cinema 4D, but that is going to require some 3D work to get it working. I would say try, if we're talking cute aliens, try Adobe Character Animator. It does full body motion capture, but it puts it out like little 2D, little cartoon characters. So actually, it doesn't have to be 2D. Whatever you draw in Photoshop or Illustrator, and it lets you take their motion and turn it into your cartoon character, and it's a ton of fun to play with. And lots of character options. So you get like little dangly antennas, and they will respond to the motion, and all kinds of fun stuff. It's about time for us to end our show, gentlemen. I think your rabbit has landed at a great spot.
Here we go.
Crap.
So now I've got to do a stop motion animation with this guy now, and then we'll figure out what to do. And then we'll figure out what we should have done for the show in the first place. But I tell you what, Karen, shoot your video with the alien thing, then come guest on the show, and then we'll try to work it out live. And you have to use whatever we come up with. Anyway, this has been a fun time. I do love coming to see you all every Friday and do these ridiculous things. I had a lot of fun making this intro and reflecting on all of the subject of stop motion that we didn't really cover today.
So does Darkwind Dingo, who has the very useful blah, blah, blah to say in the chat.
Our fans are the best. So useful.
You are the best, fans.
Karen is apparently very on board with this plan. I think it's an amazing idea.
I'm in.
All right.
Seth, are you going to close us out with the theme song? Have you gotten there yet?
I think I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. In the meantime, everybody, have a really wonderful week. Is that it? That our show?
I think that's our show.
Wow. I'm sorry we didn't accomplish much more.
Can you see the intro again before we leave, though? I really like that intro.
We can see it again real quick. Bye, everybody.
Why not?
'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, that Hashi and Seth began doing live streams. With their secret ingredient, Michael Zalapsky, they set off to teach, but instead they found glee. For to share tricks and treats is the ultimate thrill. Won't you join us to make VFX and to chill?
Chill.